Thank you so much. My name is Eduardo Winkler, of the Secretary of Regional Ministry of Agriculture. Veronica could be connected to present me, so I'm going to present myself. For me, first of all, I would like to say hello to all of the public authority and the people who are attending the seminar. First of all, I would like to say how proud I am to present in the Rio Sul for the meat days. For all of us who are with the agriculture in this region and in our country, this is an event which is part of our life and part of our history. In my case, where my grandfather is Don Winkler, presented his bulls in the 50s. And how could I forget my times of a student when we would see the most modern machinery to take him from the Chihuahua farm for them to be seen? Why should I say how envious I was of our friends who could drive a tractor around the eclipse before our authorities? With the time, I was able to bring my daughters to this exposition and to show the animals at first level and to see how delicious the food was that the different institutes given to us without any profit, which are being financed because of what we got in these events. And our daily work, I could expose the state-of-the-art technology like the first milking robot in Chile and to give the distribution for the producers in our country. Everything that I have said is to summarize how important as a liver in this area and as an agriculture and a Seremi from agriculture that we always have this pleasure to be in this Rio Sur and how privileged I am to speak in this. Thanks for these meet days. Advancing of what brought us here together today. As the Ministry of Agriculture, we gave a lot of importance to the development of the family farms and the sustainability of our sector. That is why we present this project as a program for the breeding of the dairy calves in this region. I'm going to present to you. I want to give it these greetings because for me, this comes from the heart. The sago is an essential part of the agriculture in our region and of my life. And now I'm going to present the program of the network of the family farms of the dairy sector. Basically, what are we looking for? We want to improve the competition in the cattle sector and to be able to address the current situation of the lack of producers in the AFC, which is specialized in breeding the calves. We think that they are the ones who have the ability and the capacity to be able to breed these dairy calves that come from the dairy breeds. In the last 2 years of the network, from 40 to 60 producers, we were able to generate a standardized offer that we would have a product that could be known, that we know exactly what are his qualities. What is the current situation that we have? We have been diagnosed as the agriculture ministry. We are culling the male calves from the very birth. There is not much interest in breeding these calves. And because of this, we have a high mortality of these animals in the breeding process. So this increases the costs of breeding them and it reduces the profitability of this business. What are we working on? What do we want to advance in? First of all, we want to implement a system with an incentive model to be able to encourage the producers to have these calves from 180 kilos between 6 and 8 months. We want to generate some practices which are associated to standardized starting from the production, which can be a very stable production. We want to encourage this crossing of the different dairy producers so they can supply us with these for these calves that are being rejected. There's a whole lot of producers that have their cow population complete. And besides using sexage semen, they need to find a purpose for their male calves. And this could be you can go to the agriculture, the country farmhouse, the family farmhouse, and they can give us animals which will benefit for the meat production. Here we have the costs of breeding or cost of raising these animals. This was presented to the regional government, and this has 2 months old. And so maybe some of the values are not, doesn't really ring a bell to you, but this has to do with all that we are using in the agriculture. We know that the costs have risen a little bit more, and so this might make it even more necessary to have this synergy to encourage a more coordinated production, a modern collaboration with an association, so that we can reduce these costs. But basically what we see, the costs of a male of 1,100 pesos per kilo. So it's very important that the price of the sales, and one is the costs, and second, the sale price that we had before, which were a whole lot lower, had a deficit with the standards and the values of a few months ago, of last year, if you want to be more precise. What are we looking for? With 60 small and medium-sized agriculture producers in the Los Lagos region, we have the surface which fluctuates between 5 and 200 hectares, which are their own or maybe rented. This is minimum so that they can have these male dairy calves. They have to have a minimum surface. And this is a criteria which will have an annual of 25,000 UFs, which we think that INDAP is a huge tool which allows us to give an advisory so that we can have a very good end with these calves. And we're hoping to have at least 5 dairy farms that will help us raise these male calves. They've been castrated, they have their earrings, and they have the real life so that they can continue producing, that it's not just a so it'll be lost in another farm. So what are we hoping for? We want to adopt a technology in the family farms so that we can start with this process to have a viable calf, like I said, which is a calf that would be castrated and has the possibility of developing itself, standardize a type of animal so that they can know exactly what they are buying, where it comes from, how it was raised, and at the bottom line, they can be assured of the future that comes with this. And of course, to apply the management to decrease the costs. This is a very important issue here, to know how to use the inputs correctly, to know how much milk he can give, what feed to give them, how to treat the calves at a certain point. This is very, very important. And then to promote the sales together, because this is very important for a big buyer. Even different farms, if we want to be more strict about this. But the bottom line is to buy a volume which would allow him to do the movement of trucks and everything that goes with buying animals. So if we consider the different values, the possible values of the sales of these calves, it can go from 750. It's very low into the real numbers. You're not going to earn very much when you think of the incentive. But the real prices that we want to arrive at, you can see that there is a good profit for the family farms that we want to promote. And then we are trying to reduce this breeding cost or this raising cost so they can continue in this activity even though they don't have the incentive. What we're trying to do is make this last throughout the time. That is why these are the direct results. At least 3,000 calves that were raised on these family farms until they get to the meat production. 60 producers which are benefited with this incentive so that we can have these animals, and we want to do it in big lots. We want to try to have 5 producers who are using this terminal cross system with meat breeds and dairy breeds, and to have a better price of this calf. And we want to have 60 benefited producers to diffuse this through the contact to trading channels. And also we want to do some speeches, some workshops, some seminars, so that other producers can be involved in this kind of production, which gives them an alternative activity with the cost price for the medium and small size, so that they can have a good profitability. I hope as a result that the production costs at least 5% of this initial costs, because we're looking for this association. We are looking for a better production, a better efficiency, which is being translated and reducing the diseases in the animals, and increase the last 2 points, increase the farm incomes at least 10% regarding the initial situation. And this would allow us to have an improvement in our competition in the regional livestock sector. And what I always like to say, the small farmers are going to have a good benefit of their work. This is something that is very important, and we need to think the vision of the regional government and the intendant, the previous intendant and the current one, of the advisors of this area, to help us support this regional for a development of this region of 322 million in 3 years. And this allows us to carry out this project and all this synergy that we are hoping to have for the family farms. That was my presentation. I am very thankful that you gave me this opportunity to show you what we are doing and some of the projects that we have online. We also have some other projects that we are very excited about, and I hope that another time I can present this. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I'm attentive to any questions or doubts that you might have.